Welcome, professional wrestling fans, to the PW Fan. The PW Fan is a pro wrestling podcast created by fans for the fans. And thank you for joining us. This is episode 67. I am your host, the grumpy old school wrestling fan, collector, barber, and musician, Talk Wrestling, Tim Gilbert.
And I'm your host, the architect of pro wrestling podcast, Funko Pop collector, and non-playoff making Steelers fan, Andy.
Also known as Booker Andy. Booker Andy.
Also,
Booker Andy.
Yeah, Booker Andy. Sorry, it's a new nickname for the year.
I'm also your host, the no-selling wrestling indie fan and football lover, Jeremy.
And for anybody who doesn't understand, Jeremy likes soccer. All right, so moving on. All right, tonight we will be discussing Darby Allin, Wrestle Kingdom, Vince McMahon, and more. Guys and girls, please, before we get started, go to youtube.com, search the PW Fan, where you'll find our full catalog of episodes, everything from last year and this year. Help us get to 100 subscribers so we can make an official YouTube URL and stop doing this long-winded intro. We got merch on ProWrestlingTees.com/the PW Fan. 5 designs total, 3 different PW Fan logo shirts and 2 Booker Andy shirts, my personal favorite. Go to the site, check them out. I'm telling you, the coolest wrestling shirts out there, I guarantee it. For all other social media, you want to find us by looking up at the PW Fan, where we kindly ask that you subscribe, leave a review, friend requests, all that stuff that really helps us out. All right, Booker Andy, we're going to send it over to you. Get us started for this week's episode, sir.
All right. Last week's Raw opened up with a segment of the Bloodline and Kevin Owens. This is an ongoing feud ever since. This is coming off of the John Cena match when he teamed up with Kevin Owens the previous Smackdown. So Bloodline was out there and. Trying to remember, Jeremy, you might need to help me out for this. But, Roman kind of blamed Sammy, I want to say, for the loss.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, he said, I didn't lose. He said, you lost. Right?
Right. Yeah. Yes. They're starting to have that split almost where Roman's like...
Yep. They're planting the seeds. Planting those seeds.
Seeds are being planted. Yep. So that was kind of, the overall issue going on in that opening segment was they're playing the seeds, and we'll get more into that on Friday's SmackDown when it came to Sami Zayn. But we had then Alexa Bliss versus Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship. During the match, Bray Wyatt's Firefly flashed on the screen, and it kind of... I hate to say this, triggered something in Alexa Bliss to make her start going. It flipped a switch in Alexa Bliss, and speaking of, she's out on TV right now as we're watching. And it made her just start viciously attacking Bianca. And because of this, Bianca won via disqualification due to Alexa Bliss's action. So, as it looks right now, the feud is not over yet, though. And you can kind of tell by that with 2 people like this having a title match on a television, on a televised match. They're not. They're going to say something like this probably for the Rumble. They'll probably announce that tonight, if anything.
Yeah.
We had the Usos and Sami Zayn team.
It's funny you're saying that. You're saying that as I look up on the screen, and we record these on Mondays, pal. Speaking of pal, we'll get into that later. But I'm looking up at the screen, and Alexa Bliss is literally cutting a promo right now, weirdly enough.
Yeah, she's most likely talking about her attack on Bianca Belair that we just discussed, I would assume, which we'll cover next week. Then we had the Usos and Sami Zayn teaming up in a six-man tag against versus Kevin Owens and the Street Profits. The winners were the Usos and Sami Zayn, and the Brawling Brutes with Drew McIntyre came out afterwards and attacked. Lastly, I believe it was the main event of Raw. We had Austin Theory versus Seth Rollins for the U.S. title. This was a really good match. I think Theory's kind of, even though I hate him, starting to come into his own more and more.
It was also a Seth Rollins match, too.
It was also Seth Rollins match. But what I want to say, because it was kind of all over the place, like online, did Seth Rollins actually get hurt?
It looked like that.
Like
and
another
I think
MCL
Yeah,
injury?
I think he was actually for real hurt.
Because like when it went off air, there was like fan footage of him sitting in the corner yelling at the ref, being like, "I threw up the X," and then the ref finally throws up the X after it went off the air. But I haven't heard too much about. I mean, I guess as we're watching Raw tonight, we'll find out if anything's mentioned.
That's going to be tough though, because it's Seth Rollins and AJ Styles hurt going into Royal Rumble and WrestleMania.
Yeah, AJ's is like more of like a time thing. It's not like a surgery required.
Yeah.
So he probably will be back. Sorry, whatever's. I need to turn off my TV. Whatever's going on is really interesting. And then Seth, though, like I said, I haven't heard anything. Not even on like Ringside News, where I read a lot of the stories from not just WWE, AEW, but also like Indies and all that. And I haven't seen anything about it. I also follow him on like Instagram. I haven't seen anything there either. So maybe it was just for that night he kind of like hurt himself, or maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was a shoot, brother.
I'm still looking at it. Maybe I don't know.
But yeah, he ended up because he kept working on it. He did a frog splash off the top rope with like one leg. Like he hopped up there and
he kept going.
So who knows? Suspended belief. But that pretty much wrapped up Raw for the important things, I'd say. Let's get into Dynamite, though. I don't know how much of this you all saw, but we opened with Ricky Starks versus Chris Jericho, which the match was announced, I believe, the week before when they cut a promo on one another. Winner was Ricky Starks. Ricky is, in my opinion, I would say similar to Austin Theory, but I actually like Ricky Starks. People were excited that he won. He's really starting to become a bigger and bigger star from what I noticed. I don't know.
Yeah.
You guys notice the same thing?
Well, he's always been good on the mic. I always thought, at least from like when I first saw him on Dynamite. So I'm glad they gave him more of a shot. I think he did need a little bit of time to kind of get there, but I think he's giving him the ball and run with it now.
Yeah, I mean, this babyface version of him, I mean, if you're going to have two good guys on the mic that are both heel, like him and MJF, you need one to at least kind of be a babyface. And, I feel like he's getting more time to shine now and different opportunities, which is cool. How about you, Tim? Looks like you were about to say something.
No, I really like Ricky Starks, and I think he's a guy that we've all liked from the beginning. I mean, we've even... I know this is like a harsh comparison to give him, because... Not harsh, but a strong comparison to give him the caliber of... worldwide superstar he is, but he does remind me of that charisma that young, no pun intended, but young Rock had.
That's why MJF called him the Pepper.
Yeah.
And it's not just like the shirts. It's not just like the shiny shirts with the collar. He's got something there. I really hope he can tap into it, and I think it's really cool that like this is one of the guys that in the beginning of AEW, I was like, how come it's like when like someone's like a football fan, they're like, yo, we suck, yo. But it's like, how come they're not doing more with that guy? Feels like they should be doing more, and now he's finally getting a great opportunity. So I'm excited to see it. And as far as him working with MJF, I mean, that's what I want to see, at least. I will say Tony's giving me what I want there.
Yeah, I mean, he went from MJF straight to Jericho. And I will say, since Ricky won this match, if you look back at this match and when he let Action Andretti win, Jericho's kind of making these, at least recently, making some of these younger guys stars. But speaking of Action Andretti, after the match... The JAS attacked Ricky, and then out came Action Andretti for the save with a little burn on his face from Jericho's fireball. God, I can't believe that's in the same. That's coming out of my mouth right now, but yeah. But
Where are you going here, pal?
Cut this out.
We're
There was
live.
something I
Pal.
was gonna say. Just cut that part out.
No, we're not cutting it. We're live,
There's
pal.
Oh my god. All right. Well, I was gonna say something else, and now I completely forgot. But it had to do with Jericho and the JS and Ricky Starks and all them. So screw it.
Well, first, since we're at the start of Dynamite, I was going to say, what do you guys think? I know, Andy, we talked a little bit before we started recording, but what do you guys think about the new setup for the stage and kind of like the whole presentation?
So you and me were talking before we started recording. I like the stage a lot better now. I mean, I liked the stage when the old one when we first saw it, but change can be good sometimes.
Yeah.
And like I told you, I read that they changed the theme song, but I probably just fast forward through the intro because I recorded it.
Like the fuse.
So I couldn't give you an opinion on it. Break the mold. But so I couldn't give you an opinion on the theme song. But
I just
I
wanted-
didn't
I
know
wanted-
if any of you guys heard it.
I wanted to throw in my 2 cents here. Obviously, I'm the old school guy. You would think that I prefer the retro look, which I do to a degree. However, when you're not really competing, let's be honest, guys, but when you're going against a company that has huge, just like beautiful LED screens and their entrances are top notch, when you do something that looks like it's from 2005, I'm just saying it's very reminiscent of TNA and like old WCW. Like when you do something from the early, it just doesn't hold up to what people are doing now. I personally like the older look more because it's more quote unquote pro wrestling to me. But yeah, they made the switch. Obviously, I don't think it's as nice of a setup as WWE. Come on, let's be real. But it does give it a little bit of a cleaner look. And I don't know. It's tough because I think they were trying to go for something else in the beginning, right? Like they didn't want to just be WWE Light or whatever. So they're like, oh, we're going to do the cool old school stage. The ramp's going to be like attached to the ring, which if you've noticed, that's been gone for a while now. Remember they were doing that for a little bit? The ramp came all the way to the ring.
Yeah, I didn't like that as much.
Not a fan.
Yeah. And
There was a time and place for it.
well, Corny was saying one thing about, that it's annoying is if you're a manager or a valet and you're doing heel work on the outside, that you're trying to get to a spot in the match and then you realize that you can't just go around the ring. You have to go all the way around the other side to get where you want to be. He's like, so it like ruins the whole flow of the match. And I was like, I didn't even think about that, but that's a good
That's
point.
a good point.
But yeah, I'd say overall the upgrade is good. It's just like once again, it's like how are you going to compete with like SmackDown setup? SmackDown setup is crazy, you know. It's not like Tony couldn't afford it, but I don't know. I think what Fox is putting in is a little bit different.
Oh yeah, definitely. I also was thinking because I told Andy this a little bit ago, I think, or Tim, I told you this. So AEW hired this new executive producer, basically senior VP of production guy, and this guy was apparently supposed to be Triple H's right hand man, like replacing Kevin Dunn. So he has like apparently a really good vision for production, and also just like I don't know if you guys noticed, like in the past few weeks, the crowd sounds better on Dynamite because like they mic them a different way.
I actually have noticed that because the people that were doing the original Dynamites and stuff back in 18 or 19 when it first came out, there was actually
19, I think.
it was actually some of the same people that used to work on WCW and TNA stuff. Here's my thing.
It shows.
I'm a music, but hear me out. I'm a music guy, right? I love old classic recordings, but things have come a long way in 20 years. And modern technology, somebody's like, hey, you put the mic here or you do this. Look how much of a difference it makes. And maybe AEW wasn't doing that, and this guy has that type of knowledge where he's coming in saying, see, I'm a nerd for that shit. I think it's cool. Like, this guy's coming in, he's like, nah, You want to mic the crowd like this. Like, I don't know. I think that's neat,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, it's just like a little thing that makes a huge difference.
for sure. I'm sure even the way you mic the ring, because, you know, they're micing those rings under there.
Yeah.
Like, at least one.
Yeah. That's the way it sounds.
It's a huge
Well,
ass
they're
arena
also-
to hear that whole ring.
Yeah.
It's not just them though. They're taking, you know, bits and pieces from people that have, like Jericho and the Bucks who kind of ran PWG and all that. You know, they're taking bits and pieces from all that as well.
Yeah, the guys the guys that ran the shows out of the school gymnasium is exactly who you want to get the audio advice from.
Hey,
I don't know if you saw, like, what was it, last night or 2 nights ago? It was a PWG, their Bola event.
JS showed up.
I don't get it. What's happening?
And
just
Daniel
shut up.
Garcia like fucking kicked the fan.
He kicked the fan, the
Daniel
arm, and
Garcia
everything.
kicked the fan in his arm like a bunch of times because he was flicking him off.
What are we? But
I mean,
what are we, guys? What are we doing here? Why is the PWG? Why is Ring of Honor still a thing? It's like, look, it's great.
what do you mean, why is it still a thing?
Why is it still a thing? There's no point. It's just a.
What do you mean there's no point?
He's
It's
a grumpy old school wrestling fan, all right?
Hear me out.
He's like,
To me-
we got AEW, we got WWE. That's all we
It's
need.
like,
in
we
there.
only need 2 companies in the world.
What is the difference? Well, we essentially do, because PWG and Ring of Honor and AEW are all just the same company. Jericho showed up on PWG with the JAS. It's the same exact thing, except they're like, oh, this
You
time
need
we're gonna.
all those indie ones.
Wow.
GCW can stay where it is.
Yeah, we're not.
Yeah.
My
I don't
opinion.
hate them, but
My opinion of GCW is when we're at the AEW show, everybody's having a nice time. We're in the snack line at concessions, and the one dude in a GCW shirt decides to just whip his junk out in front of everybody and piss in a trash can in front of everybody. I'm like, of course it's that guy.
Anyway, Hangman Adam
You
Page
would be
gave
that
his
guy.
health update. Hangman Adam Page gave his health update as we move forward from the pisser. And he said basically there's one more week and enough time to get another scan. And out comes Moxley, and they have a back and forth. Look, what I got out of the segment is Hangman 1 is not on Moxley's mic skill level. Moxley verbally assaulted him while Hangman Page was saying stuff like, John, I will knock your dick in the dirt. While, you know, Moxley, even though his mic cut out twice, he's saying, like, the only joke I think is funny is that you think the next time is going to be any different. Your little punk ass doesn't belong in the ring with me. And next week I'm going to make sure you don't get back up. Like, that compared to I'm going to knock your dick in the dirt. Like, but that's just one small example. It's just like, I think Hangman might have needed to, you know, show that he can go toe-to-toe with Moxley on the mic, and this did not.
Even with Moxley's mic cutting out like that, and Moxley was like, God damn it. And he was like, got back on track.
Easily.
Yeah.
But yeah, Page was all over the place with this back and forth promo.
Adam Page, you
What were we going to
suck.
say, Tim?
You suck, pal.
And we know you're listening.
He's a big fan of the
He's
show.
outclassed by Moxley.
What's it? What? There's this old quote from Raw where X-Pac comes back from WCW and he joins DX and he goes, Hulk Hogan says I can't cut the mustard. Well, Hulk Hogan, you suck, pal. So that's my opinion on. That's exactly how I feel.
Oh, nice comeback.
What does he say? If you add the letter S in front of the word Hitman, that's exactly how I feel about Bret the Hitman Hart. So that's kind of how I feel about Adam Page.
But after that, we had, we all know we don't like Adam Page. I think Jeremy does.
Ooh.
Okay, he's coming down. We had the Acclaim defeating Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal in a AEW Tag Team Championship match. When Max Caster came out, his rep consisted of it cited Karen Jarrett's recent Twitter drama, Impact Wrestling, Dixie Carter, and Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
But during the match, Jarrett applied the ankle lock, kind of taunting former, TNA rival Kurt Angle and all the drama that's going on.
Yeah.
Which then made Taz say the old TNA tagline, "Cross the line." But we'll come back to this match because we had a similar match at Battle of the Belts.
You mean almost the same match?
The exact same match. Bryan Danielson defeated Tony Nese, but what I want to talk about was right after when he had one, they were in Seattle, Washington, so crowd was hot for Danielson.
His home state.
Danielson said, "I'm feeling a little froggy. I'm ready for another fight. MJF, get your ass out here." MJF came out. He ended up saying, "Unlike you, Brian, I don't get my rocks off by putting my body on the line to entertain these schmucks. I don't care about them at all." MJF said a lot, so I'll just read through a couple. He said, "If Lance Storm and Dean Malenko were somehow able to procreate, their kid would still be more charismatic than you." He said, or Danielson said, "I hit a mom joke and I'm okay with that, but I hate you and I think it's time for us to fight." MJF said, "If you can win every week between now and February 8th, I'll give you a shot at the Triple B," which is he calls his title, "on March 5th at Revolution." MJF also did say, I didn't write this one down, but I just remembered it. He said, "Just because you look like a goat doesn't mean you're the greatest of all time." And then he said, "You know who thinks I'm the greatest?" He's like, Hall of Fame names. He said, like, Disco Inferno, Eric Bischoff, and then he said, "and my good pal, Jim Cornette."
Yes! Let's go!
So he said that on live AEW television. I was like, I have to bring this up. Next week.
When I've already accepted my role, I already know out there, I know that these two guys right here get all the freaking messages, all the fans reaching out to them, and I get nothing. So if I've accepted my role, bro, as the heel of this show, and I don't even care. So
Vince Russo.
I'm a heel sympathizer now. I'm turning my back on all you fans.
Heel Tim. That's Tim's heel promo. So yeah, MJF did mention, he's like, how I like to have my opponents go through a bunch of hoops to get to him. So he's basically saying, he's like, "I'll give you a match for the title if you can win every single one." I forget every single match from now till Revolution, but Danielson said something like he's not gonna do it for some reason. He's gonna do it for another reason. I don't know if you remember that part.
Well, he said like, if I can choose the stipulation for the match. Basically, what it got down to.
So the stipulation was going to be an Iron Man match.
Yeah, which I know Danielson has been wanting to do for so long.
So him and MJF, it looks like that's what they're planning for at Revolution, a 1 hour Iron Man match, which could be very good, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so.
Has the potential for sure.
The one line that MJF said I don't think got the reaction it should have was the very first line when he walked out and he was like, "Brain damage, Bryan Danielson."
Yikes.
Then we had a backstage interview with Saraya, Hikaru Shida, and Tony Storm with Renee Paquette. And basically Renee's asking Saraya about her mystery partner. And what a letdown this was, because she's just like, it's the best women wrestler out there, Tony Storm. And it's like, okay, well, people were hoping it was going to be Mercedes Moné.
Well, do you think, because Shida was sitting right on the opposite side and she got really angry?
Yeah, Shida looked angry, so I don't know where they're going to go from here. But
people are still thinking it's something big on Wednesday. Like, Shida's going to attack Storm, and then
face the whole time, all 3 years that she's been here. So.
Yeah, maybe they'll like have someone new then, or I don't know.
Yeah, and call Saraya and Tony Storm the match against Britt Baker and Jimmy Hayter.
Yeah, it could be that. Yeah.
The Gun Club, the Ass Boys, Colton and Austin Gunn come out. And they have a eulogy for FTR. FTR ends up coming out, who
No more
I
titles.
was going to mention, well, I was going to get to Wrestle Kingdom later, but yeah, the FTR now has no more titles.
I was going to say, was it the eulogy for their career? By the way, Tony Khan booked them.
Basically, he was saying how they basically after one loss, they said from the Gun Club that their career's basically in the dirt. FTR lost their final championships that they had.
Dax is like I'm only half shooting here, brother. Or I'm only half. This is only half kayfabe. I'm also half shooting.
So what happened was FTR lost ROH titles to the Briscoes, right? At the last pay-per-view. FTR lost the AAA titles to Dragon Lee, and I forget who his partner was, but then Dragon Lee announced he was going to WWE, so they had to vacate the titles.
That was insane.
So no one in AAA has a tag team titles, I believe, right now.
Right. Yeah.
And then FTR lost Tuesday. I say Tuesday/Wednesday because it happened Tuesday night, but it was like Wednesday here or whatever.
It was like overnight.
Lost them in at Wrestle Kingdom 17, and I forget to who. So Gun Club had a eulogy, and FTR came out, and can't remember what was said. It all blurs. Sorry, guys.
Isn't it basically just set up a match between those two?
Oh no, they didn't come out. They didn't come. Oh wait, no, they didn't come out. I thought.
No. They played the music, and then they started laughing.
Music, and then started laughing, and
because
it would have been the day. There was no way they could have flown overseas.
Yeah, it was the next day of it. Yeah.
Okay, so FTR did not come out. That's right. Yeah, man, they got me, and then I got our audience right then and there. So
I was like, wait a minute, they did.
FTR did not come out. And then finally, our main event was Samoa Joe versus Darby Allin for the TNT Championship. Now, Darby is from Seattle, Washington, which they were for Dynamite. And even though they were in his hometown, I was still surprised. Darby won. Darby is now a two-time TNT champion. Sting came out afterwards to celebrate with Darby. This was a good match.
I thought it was a really good match.
Hopefully they'll get away from all of his team-ups with Sting and kind of get him back on track to being a single star that he kind of was up until Sting he was going up the ladder, He was in a lot of big matches, and hopefully they stay that way. Joe still has the ROH Television Championship, so it's not like he's not champion, but maybe Wardlow will continue their feud and he'll just go for that one and get more odds on ROH. I don't know what the plan is in Tony's head.
They're gonna have that weekly show on Honor Pass, right? So
I'll stream it live from blank.com.
Yeah. Don't give away our secret site.
Well, it didn't help me out. It didn't help me much with Wrestle Kingdom. There were some parts that were removed.
Yeah.
They're on to me. So that wraps up Dynamite. Let's get into SmackDown. SmackDown, as always lately, and every WWE show lately, opened up with the Bloodline. Roman Reigns went off on Sami Zayn, saying that Sami, is trying to beat him and trying to call the shots, and Sami's just like, what are you talking about? Kevin Owens ends up coming out, and he challenges Roman to a match at the Rumble, which it looks like, we're getting that. But Roman ended up saying, said, that's just something I don't understand because I'm the tribal chief. Because the tribal chief don't lose, it's not my DNA, it's not my makeup. Talking about the Kevin Owens and John Cena loss, this is what he was saying, like with him not losing, Sami is the one that took the loss. And he said, the tribal chief calls my shot and I always deliver. He said, why are you doing things like me? When he's talking to Sami, he says, do you want to be me? Why do you think you can do it? And so this is the whole idea that we're saying the seeds are planted. Sami's kind of starting to be on the outs a little bit. when Kevin Owens comes out, he says, it seems like the best way for you to take care of that KO problem is in a match at the Royal Rumble for the Universal Championship. So this is what we were kind of predicting, that eventually they would have another match. Last time they had a match together for the title was during the pandemic in the Thunderdome. And Owen says, and Sammy, I'll see you whenever you grab your balls out of Roman's pocket. So that kind of ended that segment, I believe.
That was a good segment.
Yeah. I think lately when the Bloodline opens up the show, it's usually a good way to set the tone of the show.
And also, like, Sammy, his facial reactions are just, like, perfect. Even when Roman's yelling at him.
He was showing, like, pure confusion, yeah.
Yeah, he's, like, the best on the show.
Dude, the fans love Sammy. You can tell by during this segment, too. After the first match of the show, Sammy is shown backstage, knocking on the Bloodline door, and Heyman comes out and stops him. He's trying to talk to Roman, but, he's basically asking Heyman if Roman's actually mad at him or not. But we'll get back to that in a little bit, because Roman does end up talking to Sammy later. We had Madcap Moss and Emma, who are a couple in real life. They faced Karrion Kross and Scarlett. This is the first match I've seen Scarlett in WWE, including NXT. Winners were Karrion Kross and Scarlett. Afterwards, he attacked Riddick, or I was going to say Riddick Moss. That was his old name. Madcap Moss. Not much better. I think his real name is Riddick, though. He attacked Moss and put a Rey Mysterio mask on him. If you remember, that's kind of who he's feuding with, waiting for Rey to get healed or whatever.
Yeah, totally forgot about that.
Yeah, it's not a big part of the show.
Yeah.
LA Knight was backstage, and God, I'm loving LA Knight more and more, guys. I know Tim doesn't really care.
Tim
would say boo.
Hates him.
I don't get
LA
it.
Knight was backstage, cut a promo about, yeah, let me talk to you. Yeah. Who's the man? LA Knight. But he was backstage. He cut a promo about his Mountain Dew Pitch Black match.
Oh, that's terrible.
Cut a promo about his Mountain Dew Pitch Black match against Bray Wyatt at Royal Rumble. Still don't know what it is.
The fact that it's based off of a sponsor, I hate it.
I don't know where sponsors think people's heads are at, because it doesn't make me want to buy a pitch of Mountain Dew.
Like, I could have just seen a random commercial for this, and I would have wanted it more than seeing a match named after it.
Yeah, they could have just shown an ad. This match is brought to you by Mountain Dew.
Yeah, like they did that all the time.
And while we're at it, since Mountain Dew is obviously big listeners of the show, all you need
I don't even like Mountain Dew.
OG Mountain Dew.
Andy, don't say that right now.
OG Mountain Dew, Diet Mountain Dew. You need Game
Fuel
Fuel,
if you're going to pick one.
Game Fuel, and you need Baja Blast and Code Red. Other than that, just cut out all this other nonsense. Just stop.
Oh, Baja Blast fucking sucks.
No,
What?
I hate it.
Oh,
Never liked it.
What?
Talk about for it. Boo. That shit sucks.
that is a
Mountain Dew,
hot
if you're
take.
listening,
That is a
don't
hot
sponsor us.
Speaking of sponsoring, if you want to go to the pwfanpod@gmail.com, you could message us right now. We will gladly accept your sponsorship.
Yes. We will accept your sponsor,
Unless
and
you
we will
Mountain
trash
Dew.
you.
We will drink Mountain Dew every single episode and tell you how delicious it is.
Yep. Andy will drink it too.
Yeah, so we still... Royal Rumble is January 28th. I think they said we were 3 weeks out. And for the fans, I don't know what we'll be doing. Tim will be in charge of social media that night, but me, Tim, and Jeremy are all going to go out to dinner and then either watch the Royal Rumble together, or Jeremy will be streaming with us while me and Tim watch together. We will decide. Or neither. Or Jeremy is just like, screw you guys, and doesn't want to do it. But Tim will be probably tweeting and posting stuff that night for the Rumble, I assume.
If he can stay up, you mean?
If he can stay up, yes. We gotta see what that pitch black match is all about, dude.
If you stay up really late, if you stay up really late, you will get special access to only pwfans.com, where you can get exclusive content.
Only PW fans.
Only PW fans. We have hot exclusive content on there, bro.
I thought you were going in a different direction at first.
Well, I feel like I was going in that direction.
Moving forward, only new shirt coming. Only PW fans.
Only PW fans.
Like and subscribe. Charlotte Flair came out and cut a promo. It seems like she's like a babyface coming back at the moment.
Yeah, no one's gonna like her again though.
Yeah,
Like they tried to do this how many times?
a lot. She's come back a lot.
Everyone ends up hating her.
So it's going to take a little bit of getting used to. While she was cutting her promo, though, Sonya Deville ended up coming out, and I forget how the chant started, but they started chanting "trick," calling Sonya Deville a trick, and then Charlotte
they started
into it, and she's like, "I think they think you're a trick."
Yeah, and then the crowd started chanting "Whoop that trick."
That's right. Yeah.
And then he said, I think you're a monk ass, trick ass, hoe ass, bitch ass. All right.
I kept seeing all the memes from that movie Hustle and Flow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he has that song called "Whoop That Trick" in the movie.
That's with crap, I forget his name.
Yeah, I don't know his
Terrence
name.
Howard. Isn't that
Yeah,
Terrence
that's what it is. Yeah.
That's an old movie. I don't know how I remember
Yeah.
that. Then we had a Royal Rumble qualifying match, which I guess they're doing. I mean, they do these kind of matches. Why do some people have to qualify and others are just like, I'm in the Rumble, man?
Booker Andy doesn't like that.
Well, it just doesn't make sense. Logic. But wrestling logic is not real logic, so...
Yeah. You can't put logic in wrestling.
Damn it, all right? Reality.
Still real
So we had a
to
Royal
me.
Rumble qualifying match. Still real to me, damn it. Ricochet versus Top Dollar, who, good for him. That dude's lost a lot of weight, even though he flopped over the ropes like 2 weeks ago.
Totally missed everyone.
Totally missed it. And they all had to act like they got
He
it.
took flight and then came crashing down real quick.
Well, last week, everyone...
Paul was like, and that's why he doesn't do that.
Yeah. Last week there was a segment backstage where they were all making fun of him and giving him nicknames for like Flop Dollar instead of Top Dollar and like things like that. And he ended up getting mad at Ricochet, and I guess it led to this Royal Rumble qualifying match. So, but the winner of the match was Ricochet. If you're going to choose Top Dollar over Ricochet in the Rumble, I don't know what's wrong with you, Triple H. But
You need to have Ricochet in the Rumble. And he's like the new Kofi,
yeah.
as in terms of like what he's going to do in the Rumble.
Well, if you haven't seen the New Day in a while, it's because they are the NXT Tag Team Champions, in case you forgot right now. So
I forgot.
yeah. So we have a backstage segment, Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman, and Roman tells Paul to go get Sammy. Surprisingly enough, when Sammy gets there, he starts apologizing, and Roman says, "You shouldn't be the one apologizing. I should apologize to you, Sammy." Basically saying that he should be better as the tribal chief and as the champion. But I think it's going to be a little bit of this back and forth. He's going to they're going to pull Sammy in, push him out, pull him in, and then it'll be interesting if Sammy gets involved at all at the Rumble or if they save it for something later down the line.
I think they save it.
They're going to reunite. All right. Let's just say that. I think it's going to come down to Usos versus Sammy and KO at Mania.
And I think it's going to be the bloodline turn on Sammy first, not the other way around.
And KO comes out to save.
Yeah.
Sammy stopping them and getting on. See, I think that would be a bigger pop, though, for for KO to save Sammy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sammy's already doesn't need a big pop. He's already got it.
He's already the favorite.
Yeah. And then our main event was the Usos versus Drew McIntyre and Sheamus for the tag team championships. I guess this was like a redo. If you remember, this was supposed to happen, but Drew got hurt, and so they put Butch in for Sheamus and him. So I guess they were just trying to do this. But winners was the Usos. That wraps up SmackDown, though. Do you guys have anything to add before we get into Rampage? Well, as always, I have one thing to talk about with Rampage, and that was Darby Allin defending his TNT Championship against Mike Bennett.
I forgot he was in AEW already.
Tim's like, who's that? Maria Kanellis' husband. Or if you remember him from WWE,
Mike Bennett?
he was Mike Kanellis.
Yeah,
Mike Kanellis. Never heard of her.
But I thought, I was talking to Jeremy before we recorded, I thought this happened the same night as Dynamite, and I was like, oh, he has 2 matches in one night, but apparently they did Rampage and Battle of the Belts 5. They're just going to keep counting, which is ridiculous. In the same place, but no, they were in Portland for Rampage and...
Yeah. So just the other notable thing for Rampage was they did this, I hate how they did this, but it was just a little like cut scene of Hangman Page saying that he was clear to wrestle and that he has a match with Moxley on Wednesday.
Yeah. So yeah, apparently they're...
Which I was like, just do that on Wednesday if you're going to announce that,
but Darby Allin ended up winning, so I guess technically that's his first defense as TNT champion. Yeah. Let's get into Battle of the Belts 5. I'm just going to run through the 3 matches because it was an hour long, just like Rampage. We had the same match we had on Dynamite, the Acclaim versus Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal with the tag.
There was no DQ.
Just no DQ this time, yeah. Winners were the Acclaimed. We had Jade Cargill versus Sky Blue for the TBS Championship. Winner was Jade Cargill, who is now 48-0. And then the main event was Orange Cassidy versus Kip Sabian for the All-Atlantic Championship, and the winner was Orange Cassidy. And apparently I wrote 3 N's in winner on my notes, Jeremy.
Winner.
Winner. So that was Battle of the Belts 5. Let's get into Wrestle Kingdom 17. Now, I didn't watch the whole show. Some things I saw highlights. Other things I watched the whole match. But the main ones I wanted to talk about were Mercedes Moné came out. Or is it Moné? It's Moné.
That's Moné.
Is it Moné or is it Moné? Because her theme song just kept saying Moné. And it's
cha-ching, I don't like the theme song at all.
So,
there's no beat to it.
Formerly known as Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné came out after Kairi Sane's win, where she retained the IWGP Women's Championship, or I don't know if they give it a different name, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
She came out, and she looked like a leopard with her hair. In my opinion, it looked like a leopard. I don't know what it was.
It's like
cheetah, yeah. Not leopard.
It's like this cultural thing over in Japan of how they do hair, but I don't like how she did hers.
I didn't like it. I hope it's a one-off hair.
Yeah.
But she came out and she made it clear that she's coming for Kairi's championship, and then unfortunately botched her new finisher. Her and Kairi did. What happened was Kairi went down too early.
Yeah.
Into the DDT. She hit the ground before Sasha.
Yeah, it was weird how she just dove straight down.
Because I saw a video of Sasha in a training ring doing it to someone of what it should look like, and it looks cool. It's just Kairi went down headfirst into the DDT too quick. Also, Carl Anderson lost the Never Open Weight Championship to Tama Tonga.
So that's the end of WWE and New Japan working together.
Well, yeah, and apparently, though, I'd read that WWE... I mean, this is someone that they've been interested in for a while now, for years. It's not new news that Triple H has always been interested in Tama Tonga. And then we had Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay, which some, like Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez, are saying, is it one of the best matches of all time? No. I saw about the first half because my website did not let me see the other half. From what I saw straight through, was very good. I loved Kenny's entrance. If you're a Final Fantasy VII fan, he came out to Sephiroth's theme, One Winged Angel, which is also his finisher name. He came out dressed like Sephiroth, and the Titantron video was a big One Winged Angel, Sephiroth's angel. It was a really cool entrance.
It was cool.
Sorry, Will Ospreay, I know you're listening. I skipped through your entrance because I wanted to get to the match, but I knew Kenny would have something cool and video game-like. So what I saw straight through was really good. The rest I had to see highlights of, which also looked really good. I was surprised that Kenny won the match, unless it gets to like, okay, Kenny beats Will in New Japan. Does Will beat Kenny in AEW?
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping.
So there was a press conference afterwards where Will was like crying, saying he just wanted one thing, and it was this win. And so I feel like this feud's not over, but I don't know if it was one of the best matches of all time. It was very, very, very good.
Yeah.
And if I can find a way to actually watch the full thing, I will. But I think it was exactly what everyone was hoping it would be, from what I could see.
I mean, to me, Will Ospreay is an insane wrestler. Like
it's crazy. And he's not going to do that shit forever. And him and Kenny right now, it's like a perfect pairing because they both go 100% in the ring. It was very, very good. Will was bleeding, I believe, in it by the end. Yeah. Tim, what did you hear or see about this or read?
No, just, that they went 100 miles an hour and that, some people say it's, one of the best matches of all time. Some people say it's too much because they kicked out of everything, like way over the top, even more than like a Shawn Michaels and Undertaker type thing. It's just it's really, I feel like music, a lot of this depends on your taste, If you're into the most extreme,
it wasn't as choreographed as like the Ricochet Will Ospreay stuff, but
right,
it was still good.
Yeah, I
think it's worth watching.
I think
definitely.
I recommend it. I just think to put such a big it's one of the best matches ever. Like that all comes down to taste,
And then the main event of the show, which I only got to see the end of, Jay White versus Okada for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. I believe Jay White came in as champion, but Okada left as champion.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken. Oh, and I did not know this. Kenny versus Will Ospreay. That was for the IWGP US title. So Kenny is now the champion.
The US.
And then the next night after Wrestle Kingdom, they always have that New Year's Dash or whatever it's called, right? Is that where we saw Kenny teaming up with Okada in a tag match?
Yeah, and that was a surprise thing too. Like they weren't scheduled.
And I'm sorry if you're listening, I don't remember who they wrestled against. I did not watch the match. I just saw that it happened.
Yeah, I just saw that too.
But I would say those last two matches, they were the final two matches of the pay-per-view, are definitely worth checking out. I'm sure the rest of the show was good. I was on vacation for one, and that's just what I happened to catch was those bits of the last match. The beginning of Kenny and the end of Jay White's. So, before we close out, as Tim mentioned, the final thing we wanted to talk about was the big story in the wrestling world, which is Vince McMahon has returned to the WWE as part of the board. As of now, right?
Key part of the board.
For now.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to get this correct and correct me if I'm wrong, but so he's returned as part of the board. He still has most voting power.
He has 80% of the voting power.
80%. Okay, I thought it was like 51%. Okay, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's insane.
So Vince McMahon is now back on the board of directors. He has the most voting power. There's been talk, and I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. I don't know when. He wants to sell the company
to the Saudi Arabian government.
Now, there's a bunch of potential buyers. If you go to MJF's Twitter, you can see who they are because he wants to. He's like, I don't think I mentioned how much I love these companies.
I like these guys.
There's like Fox, Disney, Comcast or Xfinity or Comcast or something.
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia government. But
Ridiculous.
The deal is right now is as long as it's a public shared company like it is and hasn't been sold, the deal was you can come back on, but you're not part of creative, Vince.
And he wanted to be on creative.
He wanted to be on creative, but they were like, you can't come back if you're not part of, as long as you're not part of creative. But if he sells it, he could basically hold it hostage and be like, I'm only selling it to whoever buys it if I get to come back as part of creative.
Yeah, because then it's privately owned.
Now, if you look everywhere online, if you are looking into this, I haven't found anyone that their word is worth anything that they want Vince McMahon back, that they think it's a good idea.
Could he buy it back himself?
No, I don't think Vince has that kind of money. I think Vince is rich, but not enough. What?
Not like
sell to
7
himself?
It's like worth $4 to $8 billion.
Ultimate villain move.
Could you put it past him?
I bought the competition.
I bought my own company back, pal.
And injected it with a lethal dose of poison.
Which was just me. It was actually just me the whole time. It was me, Austin.
God, dude. There'd be stories later on in life like, what killed WWE? Well, Vince McMahon, the owner, actually killed his own company.
Yeah.
So
All right.
people were saying there's also like a very small, like super small percentage, as in like 0.5%, that it could happen is that the Khan family could buy WWE. Like Tony Khan, his family. Not the other Khan.
If they're smart, though, they would let... And then Tony Khan's like, you can watch WWE on Tubi. On Tubi, you can watch it.
Tubi.
Or behind a paywall at ROH Fight Pass. Show!
And then Raw
Raw
is actually going to be on after PWG tonight. So tune in. Tune in. It's going to be great.
It'll be on 11 o'clock at night after Rampage.
I don't know. He's had a pretty good week. The Jaguars making the playoffs and winning the division.
Yeah,
I saw
his tweet. Someone needs to take. We say this all the time. Needs to take Twitter away from him.
Yeah.
He's like, for some reason, when they announced that Vince was coming back, or he was back, he was like, for some reason, all my employees are being really nice to me. I wonder why.
I was like,
yeah,
dude. Sometimes you don't need to say it.
Act like a boss. Act like an owner, please. So, thoughts? We all just think it's bad. It's bad news bears.
Bad.
Yeah.
Bad.
Everything was going so good with WWE. I was liking it a lot more than I've liked it in years.
Yeah. I think almost a decade.
This was the best it's been to me since Ruthless Aggression.
Yeah.
And Vince is like,
I
we're
feel
going
like
to
it's
sell
going to
it.
keep getting better too. Yeah.
Please, just let's get through Mania.
Like if they sell it,
I would hate for when they're in Philly next year for WrestleMania, which is when we could potentially go to, that Triple H is not in charge anymore. You know?
Yeah, like if they sell it to like Comcast, I feel like they would ruin it so much.
What were you gonna say, Jeremy? Before I cut you off, sorry.
No, go ahead, Tim.
I don't
Tim,
have anything. No, I don't have anything.
It's all bad news bears, right?
Just
disappointing.
Awful. It's bad.
We all texted each other like, no.
I saw the article and I was like, oh god. I was like, I had to send
He
it.
said he got bad advice from people telling him to retire.
Yeah, because he was like, he's like, it would have just blown over, which is what he was thinking. But then he stepped down, and I was like, dude, no, it's not how it works anymore.
You can't do that here. All right, that's not allowed.
I guess
Maybe that's why he wants Saudi Arabia to buy it. Maybe.
Yeah. He's like, it's chill there,
you
pal.
treat women however you want.
He's like, as the kids say, it's chill.
You get to tell them what to do.
God, that's terrible.
Anyway,
Well,
so as the weeks go on, we'll continue reporting on if anything changes with Vince and the sale of the company. But I'll have Tim close us out with the match of the week or pay-per-view of the
classic show of the week.
There we go.
The classic show.
One of those things.
This is what I don't do.
The classic show of the week is WWE One Night Stand 2006, which is not the first one. It is the second one. And the reason why I'm picking that one alone is the atmosphere. It's still very much an ECW pro audience. A lot of the original ECW fans are there, and some of these WWE guys are coming out, and the audience is just destroying them verbally, and it's a crazy hostile environment. Masato Tanaka,
that was amazing to watch.
Yeah, Masato Tanaka and Balls Mahoney have an Extreme Rules match where they basically kill each other with chairs. The most random match on the show to me is Kurt Angle versus Randy Orton. Just out of nowhere. There's a Kurt Angle versus Randy Orton on the ECW pay-per-view. But the main event, this is why you're watching this show. If you've ever seen the classic footage of a sign that says, "If Cena wins, we riot," that is this show. So that main event alone, the atmosphere's crazy. It's Rob Van Dam
Cena versus RVD.
Rob Van Dam, versus John Cena.
When he threw his shirt out, like, how many times did they throw it back?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he threw his shirt out. The audience threw it back. He was getting, like, spit on the way to the ring. It was some crazy stuff. But I recommend the show. It's a fun watch. It's a dark, kind of almost grungy watch, but it's good. And, thank you guys so much for joining us this week. Now, let me just close out the show with this. If you've made it this far, this deep into the show, this is episode 67. Now, today, which would be Tuesday, pal, when you're listening to episode 67, you're also going to notice that episode 66 from last week also dropped. And that's because we had a little bit of a technical error, but we just wanted to make sure that both of those
YouTube.
Videos on YouTube.
though.
And now you can go back to last week and listen to episode 66 as well. Thank you guys so much for listening every week. We appreciate you. ProWrestlingTees.com/the PW fan. Go get yourself some merch. Rep some gear. We really appreciate it. Bye-bye, everybody. Go watch wrestling and have a great, phenomenal week.